As a quick introduction, we've talked about the fantasy camps to the listener who may not be fully aware. We've talked about this on past episodes, but essentially what the fantasy camp was a coming together of Wayne Gretzky and his cohorts, giving an opportunity for people to purchase a ticket and play hockey alongside them for 3 or 4 days. An amazing event. We're going to get into detail about that, but when we talk about the fantasy camp, that's what we're referring to, and we'll go into detail about that in a little bit too.
Right. So it was after 2002. It was after the Salt Lake City Olympics, and I went to all these camps for years to MC and run the dinners and stuff like that, and do video and website stuff for Wayne. It was a riot. It was an absolute riot. It's like I called it a glorified stag, Brian, back in the day. Right?
It's a good description too.
No, good
description. It's any good, all these guys and so at the opening dinner. Or maybe the closing dinner. Roots was commissioned. The company Roots, the clothing company, was commissioned to make clothing for the Canadian Olympians.
Right.
And the hockey team, they ended up with this cool leather jacket that they made, right? Because Canada hadn't won a gold in 50 years or something like that.
For hockey.
So they had this 50-year jacket that they made for all the players, and at the dinner, there was one of those jackets was there. Maybe you framed it, Brian. I don't know, but it was in a big shadow box frame.
Yeah.
It was like the coolest thing ever. And as it ended up, because I'm a crier, like you, Brian, Wayne ended up presenting this thing to me and give me this jacket. And I was like, I was just like beyond myself. And I was holding it up, being stupid. And I think it was you for sure, Brian, because I ended up cracking the frame while I was being an idiot, showing. Like I went to move it, I had it in my hands. I was like, look at this, right? And that thing.
Well, that couldn't have been ours because our pieces would never break that easily.
No, of course it wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, so I had this thing, and like I say, I wasn't a great collector, and not because I don't like it and all the stuff that people had. So what I've done with stuff that I did get is I give it to friends. Who have shrines, or in their offices they have stuff in that. So I gave it to a guy I work with, Steve Warren. In fact, I do a daily podcast with him, and he hung it in his house. And of course, the deal is you can never sell it. Okay, I'll give it to you, and you can't give it away or any of that stuff. You got to give it back to me. Anyway, he had it on his wall, and God bless Steve and his wife. Their son is autistic. Michael is his name. He's into his 20s now. And Steve gets up in the morning one day and sees this frame sitting on the floor with the jacket gone. Okay, in his house. Yeah. The glass is smashed, and there's no jacket. And he's going, oh my God, and he's looking around going, well, I don't think we got robbed. And in comes from outside in the yard, in comes his son Michael, who's wearing the jacket, going, I thought I'd take it to school, Dad. Which is so. Anyway, I don't know. Those things would be very collectible.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, and the other one is, this will drive you bananas. I was at the Stanley Cup final game against Philly, whatever year that was, in Edmonton, and I was sitting with Glenn Gretzky. He was my roommate at the time, and my seats were 4 rows up from the ice and about 10 rows over from the Oilers bench. Anyway, they win the Stanley Cup, and Mess is there skating around, and he's trying to get Glenn and I to come over the glass to jump on the ice, after the final whistle. And I said, God, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to castrate myself. Climb over a freaking glass. So anyway, Mess is standing there crying, and we're all crying, and he looks at me and takes his gloves off and throws me his hockey gloves.
Oh, wow.
One at a time, and gives me these gloves, right? And everyone knew they were for me. They knew I knew those guys. I was, my tickets were there for all those years. And he gave me these gloves, and I said, this is crazy. So I had these gloves. So anyway, I'm from Ottawa. I went to high school and university in Ottawa. I'm originally from Sudbury, and I went back to Ottawa, and I brought these because my brother, he was right into hockey and right into the Oilers as I was. So I brought these things with me in a big moment. brother was there, and I said, you know, Bob, I love you and all this stuff, and I've got something for you, you know, and I present him these gloves, game worn, Stanley Cup, like Game 7, wow. I think, again, like I said, against Philly, Mark Messier gloves, and I give them to him, and he goes, oh man, these are great, you know, and because he hung some stuff on his walls, and he said, this is fantastic, you know, and someone would always ask me, you know, what are they worth? You know, I said, I have no idea. I have no idea what they're worth. Anyway, give them to my brother. He hangs them above his fireplace. And I don't know, a year or two later, I'm over at his house, and I'm looking around, and I said, where are those gloves? And he goes, you know what? I wore them during my beer league game.
Oh, my
and
God.
The palms ripped, so I threw them out.
What? What is happening?
I think he was on acid at the time or something. I don't know. But
best guess right now, that's 25 to 50 grand US.
Oof. No shit. No kidding me.
Oh, for that specific game, that's, oh, wow. Thank you so much for watching this clip of The Sign-Off, a Frameworth podcast. Just a reminder that we have full episodes of The Sign-Off available wherever you get your podcasts, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Make sure to like and subscribe on whichever platform you use. You can find us on Twitter at Frameworth Sport or on Instagram at Frameworth Sports. And hey, if you're not sick of me yet, you can find me on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey. Finally, feel free to send us emails with your questions you want us to answer on the show, and we may feature you live. You can do that by sending your emails to signoffpod@frameworth.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you with a new episode every single Thursday.